All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever time you're watching this, as always, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. We're going to try a couple of different things tonight. So if I had all this pre-set up, it's hard to do though. I don't know how to. I'm not a supercomputer whiz or nothing. So I'm trying to share the screen with you guys. We're going to do a cool video tonight where we're going to do some lake breakdowns. We're going to go take a look at a couple local lakes, and then if you're out there in internet land and you'd like me to take a look at one of your local lakes and you know it very well, you can test my theories on what I might think, and let me know what you think. I'll be more than happy to break down a different lake or river system or even a big pond if you got one to look at from Google Earth, and I'll do you my best to help out. So tonight we're going to be using Google Earth. We're also going to be talking about some of my favorite YouTubers, like what fishermen do I watch. And I don't watch too many. I watch a few. I don't like to get the well of ideas poisoned, so to speak. So ever since I've kind of started my own YouTube channel, I like to kind of use what I learn, because I feel bad if I watch another channel and then I'm like, man, that's a cool tip. I didn't know that. I can't go then make a video on it now because I didn't come up with that. And even if I did, it's like when it was done by another YouTuber, you can do your own spin or twist on it. So that's still cool. I mean, it works out in the end, but I just don't like, I like my stuff being unique. So that way, if I do a video and I'm like, hey, this is my take on it, it's like, hey, you could tell it's just from my fishing experience pretty much. So I don't, like I said, when I do a video, they're uniquely common sense fishing, right? They're not like anybody else's. So I don't watch like a successful channel and then try to duplicate it, which would probably be a good thing to do, right? But hopefully we'll grow it on the merits of it being a cool place to hang out, chat, and have a good time. Hopefully the live stream's going. Looks like it's kind of stalled right now. I don't know, or nobody's on tonight, so I haven't shared it on Facebook yet. So when I'm streaming, I don't know quite how that works. I think if you're not getting notified, you got to get the notification and jump in. So anyways, so I'll just go ahead and just keep going, because I'm sure some of you guys will jump in, watch this afterwards. And for those of you, thank you very much. And if you're watching this real time, appreciate you as well. There might be a little lag time and all this stuff right here. So trying to do a whole unique different way of approaching it where I share the screen with you guys, but I do have Google Earth up. Hopefully I'm not taking too much of my computer's bandwidth. This is a pretty decent computer and it's not screaming right now. The hard drive's not humming. So hopefully everything should be good. But anyways, we're going to talk about some of my favorite YouTube channels, though, that I think are actually pretty decent. They're good at sharing information. They're clear in the information that they share, and they have pretty entertaining content. So we'll go over a couple of those, and if you guys have any recommendations, just leave a comment below and let us know, and we'll go check that channel out. I don't believe this one's going to be monetized tonight, because we will be analyzing or playing maybe some of the videos from these channels just to kind of get a feel for how the channel is, and take you around and look at my favorites, if it's just screenshots, then we should be okay, but you know how it is. I don't want to get strikes or any problems. So I'm not trying to copy anything. We're just trying to use it for educational purposes, dissecting and breaking down successful channels, what makes them successful, and then what do we like about them, right? And a lot of the time it's the dude's personality or knowledge, the way they share what they know, or just the entertainment value, like MFers like Milliken Fishing. He just goes out and catches monsters. You can't help but and watch the guy. But sometimes, it's if you dive in too deep, it's just watch it for the entertainment value. It's a good channel. And he teaches some stuff too, for sure. But guys like Randy Blaukat with Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat, he's a really cool dude. So we'll take you guys through his channel, explain why I like him, fish the moment, stuff like that. Hey, Mike McLean, nice to see you on tonight. How's it going? Man, it's been a tough one. So we're going to be using Google Earth tonight. We're going to be looking at a couple lakes. Right now I have Lake Eastman pulled up. I haven't been there recently, but I'd assume it's something similar to this, if not even lower. But if it's filling up now, great. So I just had this lake pulled up to look at it, but I don't really think I want to break that lake down. It can't handle any boats on it right now. It's in real bad position. It's in a bad spot. Here's Lake McClure. I could break this one down right now. Water stops like, I'd have to say right now it's almost at this level. It's close to this level right here. Maybe a little lower. This is pretty real time. Yeah, this had to have been done recently, huh? Or last year. Or it just happens to perfectly mimic our conditions right now almost. So I don't think Google Earth is super real time. Maybe they've updated it and it is. I don't know. But we could do Lake McClure breakdown. We got Lake Don Pedro obviously right here. So New Maloney's, another awesome lake here we could break down. And we got Tuluk, another great one. Salt Springs should be... Where is that guy at? There it is. Salt Springs. Beautiful little lake right there. Got some monsters in it. And of course you got Hogan. This lake's got striper in it. Pardee's got smallmouth in it. And some largies and spots, but it's a good smallmouth lake. I've seen a guy catch a lot of them out there. I personally need to go over there and fish it some more. Here's Comanche. Comanche can be fun and brutal at the same time. It's feast or famine. Same thing could be said for Folsom, pretty much. It's a nice lake that sometimes just beats the tar out of you. Sometimes it doesn't. Which one's this one? Oh, probably a little personal, the fireman camp or something. Is this Collins? What one is this one? New Bullard's Bar. Oh, awesome lake right here. New Bullard's Bar. Is this Trinity? No. Lake Orville. Yep. Lake Orville. Bullard's Bar is right here. Oh, this place is wicked. Bullard's Bar is awesome. So is this one? No, that's not Trinity, but Sky Creek. What is this? I don't mean to pin anything. What we're looking for. Where's the other one? Is it Scott's Flat? Yeah. Look at this one. Oh. These little lakes like this up here, those are the lakes where the fire's at right there, where it's just like nobody probably knows about that or barely goes to that yet. I bet you there's some nice smallmouth in there. And again right here, Bullard's Bar. Oh, I want to go get down and go fish that. Here should be Orville. Then up here you're going to have Shasta. Yep. Lot of fish in Shasta. Is this Trinity? Yep, Trinity. Trinity also known for being a really good smallmouth lake. Trinity is kind of like the one I don't think people like being talked about. It's like a really good fishery actually. So Trinity's like, shh, don't talk about it. Whiskey Town Lake. I don't know if that's any good or if you can fish that. I haven't heard about it. Look like those are the ones you want to look for. But see, don't just assume you can go there. You got to call. You got to figure out about the. Sorry, I zoomed too far out. You got to call and find out if you're allowed to fish there, or what the rules are before you drive all that way up. But you see these little hole in the wall lakes. Like here's Shasta. Everyone goes there. When you see ones like this right here, like this Trinity, they're up high like this. They're going to have, but they're not like Canada level lakes, right? They're going to have some nice smallmouth bass. there's gonna be some nice bass in those lakes. They're gonna be pristine and untouched. They're gonna be pretty damn good lakes to fish, actually. Like Lake Almanor, I've heard same thing about it, like really good things. So I want to find out how to fish little lakes like this right here. Man, look at that. It's full of water too. This is taken during a drought. That thing's full of water right there. Buck Lake above Paradise, huh? Bald Eagle Mountain. It's probably someone's private lake. Way up past, I'm all looking like, wow, Little Grass Valley. Yeah, look, these little reservoirs, these are the ones you want to go hit, man. Like, you got to look into them and make sure what's the rules. And you take your boat. Man, look at all these. I haven't been up to certain areas of the country. I ain't up there. 80? Yeah, I have. I went that way, duh. I was like, where am I at? Yeah, I've been there. I just don't remember those lakes. But yeah, any lake you guys want to cover, we can cover tonight. So we're going to talk about lake breakdown. So I'll probably be breaking down a couple of the local lakes. And then I wanted to also share some of my favorite YouTubers, basically. And so we've got Local Marks here. He's a great live streamer that all he does is he just live streams himself bait fishing, usually out on the ocean most of the time, and he's a really cool dude. He's I want to say British, so he has a really strong British accent. It's awesome. A lot of the guys there obviously do. They're British, so it's a pretty cool thing to listen to and hang out and be part of as far as an American. It's like, that's nice. Look at this Thai Pig Patrol. Look at that. That's a monster crappie. He's also one of my favorite fishing channels right here, Thai Pig Patrol. So we'll talk about a couple of them. We'll look them up here. Fish the Moment's probably one of the best analyticals. So for you guys who are like really into analytical fishing, Fish the Moment's a great channel. So I don't want to share his videos, you know, like you guys go ahead and go over there, check it out. I don't want to get any strikes, but he's got some pretty good videos, and he backs up his fish finding stuff with like his actual videos of him fishing and the moments he's actually using the fish finder. So he shows you like on a desktop, like he saves the data and breaks it down at home on his laptop while he records the fishing trip. Then he comes and he basically mashes the two together. This guy right here is pretty analytical. He covers like step-by-step stuff to he covers step-by-step, like very analytical, sorry. So great channel for learning some good resources. He's really good at basically at just breaking things down. It's harder to explain than that, and in a simple way. He's a young guy. He's a great fisherman, so got to give it up to his channel. Thai Pig Patrol, so we'll look at him. So Fish the Moment is one of the first channels I want to shout out. Fish the Moment is a great channel to go check out. I think it give you a lot of knowledge if you even if you've known fishing for a long time, there'll be things to pick up. And if you don't, it's a great place for beginners to learn as well, or for people to dial in their electronics, questions on this or that. He covers a lot of stuff, so pretty good little fisherman there, man. He smacks them. So now let's look at Thai Pig Patrol. Most of you guys probably know him. He's got 324,000 subscribers, it looks like. See, I'm not even subscribed. I should, though. Oh, let's do it. Boom. Hey, Mike Dozer, nice to see you on tonight. But Ty does a good job doing all kinds of stuff. He goes out for big bass. I mean, he goes out for big sea fish. He goes out for everything. So you get some pretty big bass. You know, he gets a. Where's his? He's got a recent one. He has a monster bass. Like wow, like it's huge. So let me see here. Let me see. Yeah, this guy catches a ton of fish though. Cool channel. There you go. 18-pound bass. Look at that. Like wow, you got to give it up to him, man. 18-pound bass. I know mine. The mouth on mine looks similar, and I've seen one come off like that. Two of them actually at the Delta. Broke my heart. I know they were probably teeners or something like that. 18 pounds. That's a monster. I was, thinking mine were between 12 and 14, and they looked just like that. Came off right at the boat. Just looked like monsters. Like, can you imagine that? That's like a 5-gallon bucket right there staring at you. So, Thai Pig Patrol, great channel to go check out. So, make sure you check him out if you guys want. We're going to do a few minutes. And then also, look, show you guys before we get too much into it tonight. I got KVD's autograph photo, so I'm going to put that up, put that in the little collection. I'm collecting all the cool stuff that I like while I'm super into fishing. So let's snatch one of them up. Forget it. And KVD's a great fisherman, so it was an awesome score. I was like, let's get it. And then we got Bama Bass.
Alright guys, that.
Alright. Ooh, look at that. Nasty looking. Unless the lights are there to make it look green. Hopefully there it looks like it's clearing up. It's probably super shallow though. I don't know. If I build a pond, I want it to have like a 60-foot deep section. Right? I want the thing to be like a lake. I want the bass to be able to like go sit in the bowl in the winter, and I can just pick them off like rah, rah, you cannot hide from me, and put some nice shallow areas in it too, and all that good stuff. Little channel swing, main lake point, an island, some structure, right? A little inlet and outlet. These guys, I think, they built their own pond as well. Recently, see, it's like a husband and wife, I believe, and they do all kinds of different videos. So, like, all kinds of outdoor stuff. But they do a lot of bass fishing, obviously, at Bama Bass. And great professional channel here. The guy, look at my favorite channels. So, Lake Fork guy, I watch him. But I've been watching a little bit less of that kind of stuff lately. One rod, one reel fishing. He's cool. AP Bassin. There you go. I think I got more than that for sure that I watch. This is just probably what they've got me subscribed to. I don't always subscribe to a lot of channels. But as a creator now, I don't like being like... I don't want my content being fed a bunch of fishing stuff so that it preempts like what I think I could do at my lakes or places, or it's not like dock talk. I want to keep my mind fresh and clear so that when I go out there and fish, it's all about woohoo. Oh, I'm on live stream. So I'll have to text him. He's trying to call. I got somebody calling me right now. I'll give him a text. So, yeah. Let me text this guy back real quick here. Alright, so I'll just send some quick texts real quick. So anyways, yeah, so Bama Bass, we did Thai Pig Patrol. Obviously everyone knows Tactical Bassin, or a lot of you guys know Tactical Bassin, right? Let's see here. See, I'm wondering if my stream has messed things up. It's got a little red button on it. Oh, stop streaming. That's why I'm like, oh man. See, I'm using a streaming program today, so I don't know if it's affecting warning. Yeah, it's affecting resolution and stuff. So let's see here. Hopefully the computer doesn't sound like it's struggling. I don't know what's going on. Usually they start, well, they overheat when they start doing too much processing. I don't know. That's my usual, unless they're just dirty. I don't know. I'm not a computer dude, so let's look up. We got, well, like local guys. We'll go over some Steve Cooper. In deep on the Delta with Steve Cooper. So we got this guy right here. In deep on the Delta, yep. So I've watched a few of his stuff. I don't know too much about the guy, but you know, he goes out there and he fishes the Delta pretty consistently. So it'd probably be a great place to drop in and check in if you're going to be fishing the Delta. What are your top 3 baits you're throwing Friday at Pedro? So I heard that the bass are stocked on beds everywhere at Pedro right now. My buddy said they're everywhere. He's over by the down in the South Lake. I don't know. They're probably everywhere in the North Lake as well. So I would say, if depending on their attitude, if they're real finicky, you might have to use something like a drop shot or a Ned rig or a jig, something bottom bouncing, shaky head. Nico rig is a great one. Anything bottom bouncing to make, because here's the deal: is sometimes the other, and I'll go through the other set. So sometimes you'll see the bed dusted off and the fish near it, and sometimes the fish are kind of worried about a strike zone. And then at times they're more worried about the actual physical bed itself. That's probably when the eggs are there, or either they're really about to do their thing and they're very protective of that actual bed and not the zone, let's say. Because you'll notice sometimes the other lures you can use are things like a spinner bait, a crank bait, something like that. Even a soft jerk bait like a fluke nose hooked. You can probably even use topwater early in the morning and get those when the bass are guarding the area, not necessarily the bed, but there's still maybe a bed constructed, but they're not as focused on the bed as they are kind of like, think about it like a strike zone. In those cases, you can use something moving, especially for the bigger bass, to get her to trigger a bite. Something like a spinner bait up shallow, rolling it real slow, a slow rolling crankbait with some pauses or jerks in it, erratic action. And also, maybe, like I said, like a soft jerk bait, like a fluke, or even a real jerk bait, just with some decent pauses. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I gotta go take a leak right here. Bathroom's right around the corner. Oh, wait. Sorry, folks.
whining, but we all know what the saying means.
Well, you guys know the rest of that song. All right. Let's see here. All right, so it just depends. I'm expecting you to be probably throwing a jig, a small swim bait, a small to medium like Kitech or swim bait. Worst case scenario, a drop shot. Those three, because you can use all three of those pretty uniquely. You can get a swim jig. You can throw a regular jig. A Kitech is like the perfect mix. Like it could be like a crankbait or a spinner bait or however you want. Use an underspin. You know, you can kind of crawl it like a rubber. You can bounce it along. You don't have to just reel it, or you can just reel it in like a swim bait. So you can use that thing in a lot of different applications. So a Kitech would probably be a good lure to have on as well. It just depends on your fishing style. You know what I mean? So it depends if you're a power fisherman. And you say, what three baits would I have for spawn? I would say if you like to cover water and power fish, I would say you're going to have either or a swim bait and glide bait or both. You're going to probably have on a jig for your bottom bouncing. And you're probably going to have on something like a crankbait or such, or a bigger Kitech or swim bait, or not swim bait, bigger Kitech. The smaller than your big soft swim bait, because these guys are power fishing. You know, crankbait. I don't know about spinner baits if they still fish them a lot. Probably a spinner bait with like an 8-inch worm as a trailer with a trailer hook. There's a couple different lures you can use in the spawn that are going to catch them that you can use different ways, so you can burn them. You can get a reaction bite by burning them or operating them moderately, and then with even jerks or tugs or speed ups in them. Or you can use them real slow and then speed them up every second or two and slow them down, or just a slow, steady retrieve. A lot of different ways you can try to pick them off. And it's a good way to get the hungry mom to bite as well. But if push comes to shove and you're seeing fish and they don't want to touch all this fancy schmancy lures, or it's real clear and sunny, you know, you got to revert to maybe a shaky head or a finesse jig, a Ned rig, a drop shot, whatever's your preferred go-to. I would say if I'm spawn fishing, I'm hoping to catch really big fish. So I'm probably going to want to use it in the least. If I'm fishing bottom bouncing with finesse, I would probably be using a bigger size hook with heavier duty line, with a Nico rig, probably with like a 5-inch Cinco, a big old thick one. And maybe put a rattle inside of it. Insert a rattle in it, in the tail, and then put the weight in the head, obviously. And then Nico rig it. You can even get the Nico rig weights like the VMCs that have the skirts on it. So it could be a skirted Cinco, like a little jigged Cinco. And then you can insert, like I said, a glass rattle on the opposite end. Especially if you get if you get a TRD one, you have to like cut them in specially though, because they don't want to stay in. The TRD doesn't like to hold stuff like a rattle. But you can do crazy modifications with the Nico rig, and you can catch some smaller fish like that, medium fish. But when you get a big fish and you got a nice hook, you know, with some 10-pound test instead of 6 or 8 or something, or 12-pound test even, and you're not around a ton of like stuff like in the Delta, like you're not in a ton of cover, you're not at Clear Lake, but you're at an open lake like McClure, Pedro, New Melones, and there's not a lot of trees. Like in New Melones, there's a lot of wood. So if you're not by wood, you know, and you can control the fish, let it run a bit, you know, a nice bigger than usual size hook, but nothing too crazy and big, Nico rig is probably what I would throw. A lot of different stuff. So underspin, worm, and jig, there you go. I would have 2 sets. I would have a power fishing, or like a depends on if it gets a little cloudy, overcast. If there's wind, then you can hit some areas with like you can pull up and fish real slow and fish a crankbait. You can fish a couple other different lures. The underspin will work good too, though. The underspin kind of covers the water for you if you're trying to throw a crankbait or a spinner bait or even a small swim bait. The underspin kind of nails all three of those in a nutshell. And the worm, right, depending on how you want to fish, are you fishing a shaky head, drop shot, a Nico, like a baby Nico? You can do the big Nico, right? Big Texas rig, Carolina rig. A lot of different ways to rig a worm, right? Tokyo rig, all kinds of different stuff. So power shot, you know, the wacky rig or wacky whatever, the double rig where you use like a Ned on the bottom, drop shot on top. There's a couple of different ways to do them, but not during spawn. I wouldn't use that at all. That's more of a winter technique. Finesse fishing, but for spawn, you know, I would tend to lean towards using bigger stuff. Texas rig, Cincos, Nico rig would be my probably main go-to. Then after that, I might do some other stuff. So anyway, so we're showing you guys channels that we like as well. If you guys have any recommendations or any channels that you guys think would be pretty cool to go take a look at, let me know. We'll take a look at them. But so far we got I might not have even spelt the name right. So we got Greg Blanchard as well, great bass fisherman as well, you know, fun channel to watch. So you know, a lot of us know Greg Blanchard as far as know the channel. So, can you close that for me, babe? I guess maybe the kids are going for a bike ride or some craziness at 7:30 at night, or they're messing around with something over there. So, man, I've had a crazy one. So, I was thinking about it. Yeah, no problem. What? Yes. Yes. All right. So, anyways, we got Greg Blanchard, Thai Pig Patrol, Milliken Fishing, Fish the Moment. Right? So, Milliken Fishing, he catches some monsters. I'm surprised he hasn't updated his banner with some of the monster fish that he's caught that would just put these to shame. You know, but he's got some videos with mad views, so I'm sure most of us know who this guy is. So, hey, Gerbs, nice to see you on tonight. Milliken Fishing is definitely one I'd check out. Mikey Balls Fishing, this guy's a good dude. So, this guy right here has some cool content. He's pretty energetic. He's a go-getter, and he catches big fish. And so he tries to share with you what you would say. He tries to share with you exactly what to do to catch them too. He's a good YouTuber. He's got a 74.6. I'm surprised he doesn't have more. He's actually been a decent channel for sure. I've been watching him for a while. Like I said, before I became a YouTuber, once I started doing this, I kind of stopped because I don't want to, like I said, poison my well of thoughts and have it show like, hey, this guy just did that channel or video and you're doing it just like it. Even if it's like subconsciously. I like my stuff to be original and just be me. So Mikey Ball's a great channel to check out. And let's go do our first lake breakdown. Where are we at? We are right here. Oh. Yo, Gerbs, nice to see you on. So Horseshoe Bend is one of the best spots to go check out And when the lake's full, you can actually come up here in Bagby, and there's some areas that they'll spawn on, and that they'll be up here in the shallower stuff with the current moving. A lot of this big spotted bass will be up there. You can catch some nice largies that are up there when the trout after the winter on a really full year when there's a lot of trout in the lake. You know, you can catch them. Whoa, you can catch them up in there, but in the narrows, right? There's some places in the narrows that are cutoffs, like little gulches, that when they're full, these little gulches can be really good spots actually when the lake is a lot fuller. Right now, there's nothing in it barely, right? So when there's water, you got like Scotch Gulch. The water would go way back in here, and right in this area is usually where I do okay. Let's see here. There's Bagby. Yeah, this was White's Gulch. Yeah, when it's full, I usually do good right in here like this, around here. I've got some fish on this side as well, and a couple right out here. Off this point has done me all right. All right. Now, when the lake is at what level it's at right now, it's close to this point right here. It's just a little bit off. Not by much, though. So some of the best spots, obviously, you'll see guys fishing right in here during spawn. All in here. All in here. All on this side. This is the shallower side. This is the steeper side. They'll be over here in the winter, and then they'll move over here in the spring. So they'll be on this side primarily, but then when you get over here, they'll be all up in both of these arms. This is a really deep gulch. They're not really going to be in there. They'll be off these points and in here during the winter. Obviously, summer. In here is a decent spot. Back in here, they spawn really good. All around back in here, too. So, and then you'll find them a lot of the times, depending on the lake level, they'll be spawning off these islands, too, up in here. And this whole shoreline from right here, this point down, can hold fish as well. It's a nice sloping shoreline, so this gets a lot of sun, warms up really good. So this side of Horseshoe is where you're going to see most guys at. And after that, this gulch right here can be all right, but most of these other cuts, they're just too deep for spawn time. The shelves are too steep, the drop-offs are too steep. Now another spot, so you can tell the lake's definitely lower than this, but Arnold Bay. Arnold Bay in here, they'll spawn all, starting after this point, it starts to get shallow out here. They'll spawn all along this shelf all the way back into about right here. And then this is just too steep in here for spawn. So the cutoff will be right around this rock. You'll probably get a last couple beds. But the beds will be loaded up down here. This shoreline will have some. It's a bit steep, but it tapers off out here. This shoreline will be loaded. This shoreline will be really the best as far as more fish. Quality's usually somewhere in this area for me, or this area over here. This point has good fish on it, even in spawn, because they'll move and then move. They'll move up and spawn in here, and they'll sit right here and wait their turn when there's different waves. This is a main lake point that almost always will have at least a few fish on it. This is a bit steep, but there's some good spawn spots. As a matter of fact, look what you see right there. So there's a boat fishing. That's funny. It's white. It's probably mine. Nitro. All right. Is it me? But this whole side right here, I like during spawn. A lot of it. And then when this is full, I like being up in here. You have some fish that'll spawn over in here too. But they'll really stack up back in here. And all in here. When the lake's full, this is all shallow. So this is where they'll just be choked up. Right now, they're probably, I'd say, if they were spawning at this stage, they'd be in here at the deepest probably. You might have a few in here, but there's a lot of what do you call it? This is pretty steep, but this is the end where it's not that deep in the middle. Out here is where it's a lot more deeper still. So this is an island right here, obviously. And inside of here is a good spawning area right here. All up in here in this cove right here. Good spawning area. And Barrett's Cove, this shore makes a good spawning area right in here too. And all along in here actually. You might have a few that do the main lake spawning throughout here. And on this stuff right here, you might have a few. You might have a few that are in here somewhere, spawning on the sides of these points in here in this like wind protected cove. So you'll have them spawning. They'll move in here and they'll be spawning in here in Barrett's too. So they'll be laid up all up in here depending on water level. Over here off of this, there's an island that'll be out here. There we go. Take it off of that. So there may be a few up in here, some largies or something. Depending on lake level, you might find some in here. They'll be towards the points though, like in here and then right here. This is a bit steep, but I've caught them in here before when the water level was higher. So this is McClure Point. Now that's North Ramp. Yeah, this is all good in here. This is all good spawning for big spots, and there's some nice largies that'll spawn on this side too. It's pretty steep. This spot right here is pretty decent right here. This is all pretty steep though. This whole spot right here, they'll spawn on this, but they'll spawn in here and all along here, and in here pretty good, depending on lake level. Usually they'll be back in this stuff more depending on lake level. Well, Clear Point, they'll spawn all up in here. They love to spawn all on this part right here, on the tip. They'll be way up in here, all stacked in here, a grouping of them. There'll be some out off of this, but this is the steeper part. There'll be a bunch spawning out here like this. There'll be a bunch in this area right here as well. There'll be a few over here, but not many. More of them will be centered around this whole little block, this island all around this like this, going out here on the back sides of it. That's a nice spot. And then Temperance, they'll spawn really good in this area right here. And then they'll spawn in here and in here. All right in here, but not much. But they'll be all tucked in right here in this stuff. This is where they'll be. Now water level, they'll probably be up in here a little bit. But this is still pretty steep. But there's one shelf, or not shelf. There's one kind of long. This point kind of goes out a bit. So they can spawn a few on here. This is more steeper stuff. Hey, Marco Houston. So they're more in here, and then in these two arms if you're in Temperance. If you're in Cotton, they'll spawn all in here. They'll spawn in here. And they spawn all up in here. And they'll be all in here when the water level's higher. And then they love to spawn when the water level's higher. I find them all stacked in here. And then spawning all up against this shore too. So this is one of my favorite areas to fish when Cotton's got water. When Cotton's got water, they'll be in here too. They'll also be back along. They'll be all spawning on the shoreline right here. During a certain portion of it, they'll be all over this stuff. This is, I think, the steep one right here. Right? Yeah. Yep. So they'll be spawning all in here. They're all over the place in there. Cotton Creek is a great spot during the spawn. Here you'll get a few largemouth monsters that'll spawn in here near the dam too, by the way. If you want a little tip for McClure, there's some monsters that hang out right around here. Just a few of them, not too many. But that's a McClure breakdown for you. It's not an overly complicated map. It's a simple, there's only, one here, one nice area here, one area here. You've got Main Lake, and you've got an area here, an area here, and an area here. So you've got Cotton, McClure Point, Temperance, you got Barrett's, and you got Piney, and then Horseshoe Bend. Also is Arnold's, and then right up in here can be alright too. It just depends on lake level. Like I said, some of the gulches can be the tickets too when lake level's high. So what's up? How's it going? Everybody just hanging out tonight. Figuring I'm going to do a share the screen with you live stream. So we're just kind of hanging out. I'm talking about Lake McClure right now. I'm just going to move over to Don Pedro or New Maloney's next. But if you guys want me to break one of the maps down of Northern California, or if you're from another state, let me know. And we'll go say hi and check out the lake and give you my 2 cents on it. Find my lakes real easy. Nope, there's Don Pedro. Oh, nice to see everybody on tonight. Thanks for watching. Charles Chalk, Marco Houston, Gerbs, Mike Dozier, Mike McLean. Anybody else on who hasn't commented or who's just listening, thank you. Shout out to RC Creative for the shirt here. Big thank you. So, yeah. But I was going to do Lake Don Pedro next. So, Pedro turns on at different stages, and not every year the stages are the same. So they can turn on in order of, and not in order of, but they can turn on in first. Moccasin can turn on, which this whole little area in here can just really turn on fire. First, this is Woods, right? Woods Creek can turn on fire first. There's Hatch Creek. Big Creek can turn on first. So Rogers Creek can turn on first. Oh, excuse me. Or South Lake can turn on first. And there's many different areas. This is a big ass lake to cover. So they can spawn all over the lake here, but they have preferred areas in my opinion. 49er Bay, all around 49er Bay and in 49er Bay, back in Big Creek and all around in there. I would leave most of this main arm like this alone. You'll have the occasional freakazoid. Excuse me. Back in here can be a very good spot. This is a place we used to party back in our days as a youth. And this is the point I had to walk around right here. And I tell you guys about the mountain lion story. The picture matches up perfectly with my story. So we're partying over here. Lake's a little higher. And this is the dirt road that we would take. And you would park like right here. And there's a barbed wire fence, I think, somewhere either right here or back here somewhere. Either here or here. And you'd park, I think it was by the tree here maybe. No, I want to say it's up here. There was a fence. And then we'd walk down here and we would have our campsite set up somewhere either here or up in here, but mostly down in here. And the water would be up a little higher. So we had to walk all the way around this. And then we wanted to go over here and fish. Well, if you can see on the map, there at certain points, this is pretty steep. So the water right here, it gets pretty steep right here and right here and right here. So we're fishing and we wanted to get over here. So what we did is we fished a little bit this way and then came back. It was real steep. We probably made it to like right here. and we walked over this mountain. And this is the two bushes or tree sets I told you about in my story, where I cross over the mountain, and out of one of these bushes, the loudest scream roar came at us, and the bush started shaking, and we backed off, yelling and screaming towards the water's edge, and it was in one of these. And we had to go back, so the next day, we instead of going this way, we walked a long way this way, because right here it was like all mud, I think, and the lake or the water level was just high enough where it didn't go over this way, but it had dropped, and I think this was just kind of muddy. And so we walked around the dirt right here. I don't remember exactly, but I know on the way, or it was just maybe we were trying to cover water and fish, because on the way there we were fishing. We started around here, worked our way like this, worked our way this way, worked our way as much as we could this way, got stuck, wanted to keep going, so we went over this way. And then once that happened, we got freaked out and we fished over this way. And this is the cove my buddy got his 12 pounder in. So crazy. Don Pedro's, this spot back here has got a lot of monsters in the back. Some big fish. Fleming Creek back in here. Good fishing back in here. Depending on the lake level, there's a lot of wood back here. As the lake starts getting lower, more wood will start showing back here. So it can be pretty dangerous to sail in. There'll be a bunch of wood starting out in this out here once the lake gets lower. Right now, not too bad. Rogers Creek. This is a great place to spawn fish depending on depth. You know, you might need to start out a certain way because you want the hard bottom, and certain parts of this is real mushy, and then certain has hard bottom, nice spots. There'll be some nice big fish in Rogers Creek, especially when the lake level's higher. We like fishing there. So Rogers Creek turns on. It's just the key is what one turns on first. They say it's the northernmost arm of the creek of the lake, which is typically woods. But the next northern arm would be Big Creek, and then after that would be Mexican Gulch, Blue Oaks area. Down here, there's a lot of good spawning fish that are in here, believe it or not, down by the dam. Some monsters down there in this area right here. And then in that order, you would be moving to the right. Then it'd be places like Hatch Creek, Moccasin, or, Rogers. Rogers, and then sometimes it seems like Rogers is the first one. So I don't know what kind of rhyme or reason plays in. I think it's all dependent on the weather and how deep the lake is and what kind of snowmelt you have coming in. Because then all the temperatures in the different arms can be fluctuating depending on if there's rain coming in or not. So I don't pretend to know the exact answer, but I know it's a set of all these different factors. But anyways, different arms will turn on. So you really want to try to figure out which one to start with. So what I'd like to do is I present breaking the lake into 2 zones or 3 zones at most, and spend an hour in each one at least, or 2 hours in each one, and that gives you plenty of time. So spend a bit of time checking in down here. If within 30 minutes you don't have anything, 45 minutes, you're not seeing big fish, you're not getting anything, and you pick a couple good arms, you fish in here for 15, 20, then you move and you fish, a little bit in here for 5 or 10, come in here 20, 30, nothing or nothing great. Shoot out of here, go check up in here for a bit somewhere, 49er Bay, back up in Big Creek, nothing. Shoot over here, check in Rogers, nothing. Then take your butt, and I would save the middle lake if you're going to try it for last. Then shoot up and head into Woods and check in, and then head into Moccasin and check in. But the key is not running around so much that you're wasting gas, money, time, and not looking thorough enough. So make sure that when you pick spots, don't be checking like sheer cliffs. You might find a freakazoid spawning there. There might be a monster, but you're not going to find a good spawning ground on that kind of crap. You need to find the bottom that the fish are looking for, and that's just a flatter, harder bottom, almost like a pavement would be the perfect thing a fish could spawn on, right? Like cement that's flooded underwater and flat, but like an old road bed, perfect places for fish to spawn. So find old road beds, find hard flats that don't have too much muck and mud, that aren't too soft to bottom, because they can, there'll be silt on it, they'll fan it off. That's why it's a bed and it looks like it does. And two other little tips on spawn fishing for sure is you're going to have two different kinds of beds, and the easy way to spot them is when you're looking in the water, you're either going to see one of two things. You're either going to see these circles that are dark, so the floor around you will look a certain color, and then one circle will be darker. And the reason for that is because it's all the fine tan brown like sandy silt has been brushed away, and the darker, harder soil where rocks or hard bottom is showing through, and that's a dark circle, while they're all around it where it wasn't fanned off, the silt is settled and it's more of a tan light brown color. So you'll see dark beds, or what you'll see is sometimes there's a really shelly bottom, and the muck is kind of dark colored in nature anyways. So when they fan their beds off, you see light spots where there's more shell and more rock and pebble showing. And so you get more clarification while the stuff around it is kind of dark and mucky. And a perfect example of those two would be like the Delta or Clear Lake. And a perfect example of the darker bed would be somewhere like McClure or Don Pedro. And you could see both beds at different locations depending on the type of bottoms that you're fishing and what debris is underneath it. But those are the two dead giveaways. You're going to look for circles or semicircles, and they're either going to be dark or they're going to be light. And they could be anywhere from a small dinner plate like this to big old giant circles like this, or more, especially the bigger the fish. So a big circle is a big warning, like that's probably a big fish. May not be. Sometimes you'll see almost two or three beds kind of combined to look like one bed from far away, because they didn't get locked in on a bed, or there were a couple males up there and only one of them really got the female. So the other two, kind of hang off, and, they're not, they've been scared away, so to speak. So, and again, this is all just from my experience. So I don't know if it's 100% true, but that's just how I feel. And so, Pedro will turn on in different orders. So it just depends on lake level. One of my first spots to check in if I'm fishing North Lake is going to be Woods. And one of the first spots I'm going to be checking in if I'm fishing South Lake is going to be Mexican Gulch, or somewhere near Blue Oaks. And second would be 49er Bay up into Big Creek. And then if I needed to break the lake down further and it's earlier spawn, I'm heading in into Rogers or Hatch or Moccasin, or places like the Boneyard. So if you don't know where the Boneyard's at, Hatch Creek's right up here. Boneyard is this right here. Graveyard Creek, see? Call it the Boneyard. I don't know. Graveyard, whatever. That's all up in here. That can be good. So it just depends. I'm not usually running to these little back of the wood stuff that I know unless I'm forced to go check in on stuff, because that's fishing the past. So I like to go check in on, hey, what's this new spot right here? What about over here? Have I ever been in this one or that one? Well, Hatch Creek, yes. I've been in Willow, yes. So that was a bad. But what about way back in one of these arms right here? One of these spots is somewhere bass can pile a bunch of bait fish in, pinch them in, and just sit there all winter and gorging, and then decide to pull up and spawn, or spawn in the bay over. So sometimes you'll find pre-spawn big schools of fish, December, January, in arms like this, just stacked up. I would recommend cocoons. So Ish Monroe puts them out there, but the idea is they cocoon. They're like goggles almost. So they're sunglasses that if you wear glasses as well. So they're also cool that if you wear a pair of glasses, they're glasses that fit over your glasses, and then you can wear them like that, or you can wear them solo, and they're cocoons because they cup the eyes completely, and then they're so they don't let any outside light in. So even though you may have a hat, they're blocking. It's like why you see the football players that wear the dark stripes right here, so no light reflects off their white cheeks or their shine. Even if they're dark, they're shiny cheeks because they're sweating, and then that light bounces back into their eyes. So to give them the most clear vision, they put their eyes black like that, so that the sunlight doesn't reflect. And so cocoon has been like the best from that I've heard from a couple of my friends. I don't know about how breathable they are in the summer. I need to give myself a pair, but shout out to Ish Monroe and cocoons. You will be at Clear Lake 3 days starting Friday. What's up? No limit. Yeah. Yeah, cocoons are the best, cheap, decent ones I've heard of. Ish Monroe endorsed them, or was endorsed by them. But yeah, nice, dude. I wish I could be up there. I got a couple buddies that are going to be up there too. So Jay, Darren, and Justin, and a couple other guys I think are going to go up there. Maybe Mark Nav and a couple other dudes. But I'm setting to go to Clear Lake probably, I'd say, I'm setting to go to Clear Lake either next week or the week after, something like that, or the week, yeah, probably 2 weeks from now almost. So the week after next. And then I'm probably going to go for anywhere from 2 to 4 days. And I'm going to try to invite everybody up. So whoever wants to come is more than welcome to come. I just asked if everyone who wants to come could give me advance notice. That way we can try to put everything together and rent proper accommodations for everybody and plan out how much food and stuff I'm going to buy. And because we'll barbecue, tri-tips, and all that stuff. We get down. We have a good time. And we have a blast out there. We take the lake over, dude. It's like a little mini tournament. You were out there yesterday, 22 pounds. Nice. So it's time to get out to Clear Lake soon then, huh? What were you whacking them on? Bottom bouncing stuff? I'd be throwing an LV 500 or a jig right now if I was at Clear Lake. And I'd be focusing up shallow, and if all I was getting was 2 and 3 pound males, I'd probably start fishing in that. Instead of the 2 to 8 range, I'd probably start in 8 to 15, 20 even. 15, no Clear Lake. I wouldn't go probably deeper than 12 or 15. But I would be fishing two sections. So no beds right now. They're just kind of off, cruising around. So were you using reaction then? If you're no beds, I'm assuming they're kind of moving around. So rattle trap, yep. LV 500, that's what I would have used. Search bait, like a jig. I just cast it out. I mean, you can use it both ways. Just cast it and reel it in, lipless crankbait. Or what I like to do is just let it hit the bottom, and I jig it up, and then let it hit, and then jig it, and just reel the slack in, and I jig it in. And you get that little, oh man, now they're on. So those things are awesome. I love using those. Rattle traps, sometimes they outperform at LV500 too because they have a more slow fall. The LV500's faster and it cuts down quicker, while a rattle trap has more of like a spoon fall because it weighs less. So for relative to their size too as well. So it cuts through water really clean. No beds yet. That's what I'm hoping in 2 weeks when I come. It'll be. Man, lake is super low. North end, all of the Thule is out of the water. Lake will be shut down by July. Damn, so good to probably go then in April. and hopefully enjoy it before it gets shut down. Start out at Redbud or Lakeport. I'm wondering if the lake's that low, one of the only launches will probably be Lakeport then, or like Redbud right there. Um, I don't know. I would assume State Park is probably no go. The North Lake is probably no go for sure then, which is what that's not is which one's Lakeport? There's Lakeport, Clear Lake Oaks, and then so I know Clear Lake Oaks I think was almost closed last time I was there. There was like two of the ramps that were closed basically. I don't remember which two they were. Man, that sucks. Well, I'm going to make sure I go for sure in April then. I'm going to get my fishing in. That sucks. Poor Clear Lake is going to have a massive fish die off then this year. I feel bad for the people who live there. They're going to close the lake. Good evening and tight lines to you as well, JP Fraga. I can't believe they would. I mean, they got to do what they got to do, but you would assume they would make a dirt ramp or something, or try to figure something out. But it's crazy. Yeah. And then I'm sure parts of the lake aren't marked, and then there'll be the algae bloom coming soon. It's like if oil is so important, we import it from one end of the world to the other via pipelines. Why can't we take water and do the same thing and build like the Great Pipeline and take water from like drowning ass East Coast when they're all humid over there? There's like water everywhere and it's raining constantly and they're getting flooded. But like, we'll take all that water, just divert it over here. Man, anyways, yeah, that sucks. So I'm just going to have to get my getting in while the getting is good. So yeah, I think April is going to be when I'm going to go. And I'm going to go hardcore. Like I'm going to go for, as long as I can go financially. Because I'm going to make sure I enjoy it then. I'm going to pick that lake apart and catch as many fish as I can and go for the big ones. So I've been thinking about what we talked about, No Limit. I want to do a nothing but swim bait trip here soon. And see how it works out. I'm going to probably either go to Don Pedro or New Maloney's and just throw nothing but swim baits. And don't even take a jig rod. And just throw either S-Waver type swim baits or HUD. And then just switch off between them. And if I get snagged and lose shit, I'm going to have a lure knocker. So hopefully I don't lose anything. And if I do, I've got a few backups. So I've got a couple different S-Waver type lures for sure that are big 6 to 8 inch lures. I've got 2 HUDs and a couple knockoff HUDs like a Castaic and some other stuff. So I'm going to probably do I'm going to have to record it too. And if I suck, I suck. You guys will probably just hear me chatting like during tonight's, live streams, like when we do our live streams, just hanging out with me. But hopefully there'll be a fish during the video, right? Hopefully we'll get a big old monster or something. That'll be the idea. So, but that sucks. Yeah, Clear Lake doesn't get any snow runoff really. It doesn't snow up in those mountains much. They're not. They're a Pacific mountain range, so the ocean mountain range doesn't get as much snow as the Sierra Nevada on the other side. So that's a big downer for that. But like Eastman's nasty. I don't know if it's gotten any better. Due to Lake Tulik being like a residential lake and it getting a lot of its water from Maloney's. And then it has to feed, I think, the Stanislaus, or what is it? Yeah, the Stanislaus. So Tulik's going to be a good lake to fish this year, I think, during the summer. But to keep you occupied and fishing. I don't know about these other lakes. Pardee, maybe. I don't know don't know if this area gets enough snow or not. That's the question. Does it get enough snow? Man, it sucks. When this was taken, all the snow is gone. This must have been like damn near in the summer. Like, I'd suck if it isn't, because then shit. I remember when this is just all. I flew over this, and it's just all pure snow. Almost even in the summer, you know? Yosemite National Park. What? That little thing ain't Yosemite. Is it? I don't know, whatever. Oh yeah, it's in here, Yosemite Valley. And that's the upper part. I'm like looking at it for too close. I was all burned out. Anyway, sorry folks. Like I said, what we're doing tonight is we're looking at Google Maps. We're doing some lake breakdowns. I was showing everybody some of my favorite YouTube fishermen, as well as this fool named Common Sense Fishing. I like him too. He's pretty good. So he's got some videos you can check out, you know. He's got, what, 409 videos, I think? What a bonehead. And he's only got like that many subscribers. Man. Yeah, I've got my shorts. All kinds of cool stuff. So we do I was gonna intro with the Common Sense Fishing song, but here's my most famous videos right here. The funniest fishing video ever, try not to laugh, cracked heat exchanger, boat crash on the California Delta, Lake New Melones catching a double digit, grinding on the California Delta for huge bass, and so on and so forth. So uh-oh. What's up, dude?
Johnny's not home.
Where's he at?
He went bike riding by himself.
No, go get him.
I don't know where he is.
Well, go tell Mom to go find him. That boy, he's gonna get in trouble. Well, he's not in my room. He's not in here. My boy's out doing some dumb stuff. Probably he's out riding a bike. But hey, out in Winton at 8:13. That's not the best thing to be doing, especially after getting suspended for getting into a fight. Some people might want to beat him up if they see him right now. He needs to see. But yeah, he ended up getting into a fight at school. Someone had been calling him names, so he called them names, and then they said, well, let's go to the bathroom, and they did. And so they even recorded it on phone, and apparently my son won, but it didn't matter. They both got suspended. But I mean, of course I'm a little proud that he won, but still he shouldn't be getting into fights. I'm like, little monster. So he got suspended for 3 days, so I've been watching him and hanging out with him. I think he thought he was off grounded, so he could just roll out on his bike. Like, uh-oh. Looks like I'm fishing tomorrow too, Salt Springs. Yeah, so Salt Springs tomorrow it looks like. Okay. So it'll be fun to fish Salt Springs. Well, guys, I better get off. I got to go help look for my kid and make sure he's not in any trouble. So, sorry about that, cutting the live stream short. But got to take care of your kids, right? So, all right, folks. We'll catch you on the next one. Little monster, huh?